Hello and welcome to the channel. If it's your first time here, thanks for joining. If you've been here before, thanks for coming back. So I've had the old Speed Champ set for a while, and I really like it, but I think with some newer parts LEGO's released and some more advanced techniques, we can make it just a little bit better. I know some of you are going to be wondering about the new set. I will cover that later in the video. As always, full parts lists and PDF instructions are listed in the description below if you want to build along. So while I'm building, I'll go over just some stuff I learned about the F40 while I was doing some research on it to start building. The F40 was produced from 1987 to 1992 to celebrate Ferrari's 40th anniversary. Ferrari had originally intended on making only 400 of them, but due to it being so popular, they ended up making 1,311, which is not a lot, really, if you think about a production car. That's still a pretty rare car. As I'm building, you might notice some weird colors or old bricks. I like to use pieces I've got a lot of in places that won't be visible in the final model. LEGO does the same thing with the official sets. Now this part right here, part 26047, is an awesome piece. It's got 3 connection points, and thanks to the kind of rounded edge on the back, it can be rotated in all sorts of different directions. The more of these small functional parts that LEGO comes out with, the better. You'll also notice that the rear of the vehicle is a little bit wider than the front. That's why we're using these jumper plates. We're actually going to transition from 6 studs wide to 7 studs wide at the rear. Continuing with that theme of 4s, the F40 had an original price of around $400,000 when it was released. In today's money, that would be over $1.5 million. Now this mock costs about 25 bucks in parts, so it is significantly more affordable. Even though there weren't that many F40s made, there are some really famous examples out there. Ferrari even developed a version for Le Mans. It had more power, better aerodynamics, and a blue paint job. And of course there's the Liberty Walk version. They give it wide body fenders and aggressive stance. It's a sick car. It looks awesome. Right here we're going to use some modified bricks and brackets to get the engine cover to step up a half plate at a time. LEGO does a similar technique on the latest model. So the F40 was actually the first production car to break 200 miles per hour. It had a top speed of 201 miles per hour, going 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds. It was actually inspired by the 288 GTO, initially intended for Group B racing, but after Group B was canceled in 1986, Ferrari shifted focus and created the F40 as a high-performance road car instead. I'm really happy with the way the exhaust turned out here on the mod. In fact, this whole rear section actually turned out really cool. I like that there's some upside-down building, some sideways building, a lot of stunt techniques and brackets really brought it together. The F40 was designed by Pininfarina with contributions from Nicola Materazzi. I'm going to pronounce things wrong. He was the chief engineer at Ferrari at the time, and it was the final Ferrari design actually approved by Enzo before he passed away in 1988. Enzo actually began his career as a race car driver in the early 1920s. He drove for Alfa Romeo and earned success in several races, but retired from driving in 1932. And actually used the tail lights from the new set here, and also you'll notice I used plenty of stickers from the original set all over the model just to give it a little bit extra detail. Now the spoiler is probably my least favorite part until LEGO comes out with a 7-stud wide tile, which they are not going to do anytime soon. I had to use a 1x2 clear plate to keep it together. In 1939, Enzo founded Auto Avio Costruzioni, which later became Ferrari. The company initially focused on providing racing car parts before building cars of its own. The first production Ferrari road car was the 125S. It was built in 1947, and they only built 2 that year. Now, even though Enzo had retired from racing himself, he was still really passionate about it. His company that he had founded in 1929, Scuderia Ferrari, is now the oldest and most successful F1 teams in the world. If you're liking the background music I used here, I've actually made the WAV files available on my Patreon. They're free to download, it's free to join, but there's a couple other paid tiers as well if you want access to full PDF instructions, part lists, all that stuff. There's about 200 models up right now. There's going to end up being about 700 individual PDFs that are available over the next couple months. And more to come as I keep on designing mocks. These 1x1 round tiles with bars will allow the body to transition from 6 studs wide at the front to 7 studs wide at the back, which I think is one of the coolest features of this mock is the 6 to 7 stud transition. And I continued that with a lot of other Ferrari models that I will show off on the channel later. These mudguards are relatively new. I believe LEGO just started releasing them either this year or later last year. They're really awesome. They let you build a plate lower than the previous version of them. Now there's another red mudguard that is notoriously hard to find. Part 3, 5, 7, 8, 9. It's only been released in a single set in the Ferrari Ultimate Garage set. I was fortunate enough to find one on Facebook Marketplace unopened for $25 and I jumped on it, but they can go as much as $25 for each individual piece, which I will never pay and neither should you. Every time LEGO announces a new Ferrari set, I cross my fingers and hope that there's going to be the short mudguards in there. So far, no luck. Ferrari's obviously a world-renowned company with a legacy that extends far beyond just the automotive industry. There have actually been 55 LEGO Ferrari sets featuring various vehicles, including 4 F40 models, each at a different scale. The old 6-stud Speed Champions set from earlier in the video wasn't the first F40 set LEGO put out. It wasn't the second either, it was actually the third. The first official F40 set was part of the Racers theme. It was 4 studs wide and it came out in 2012. The second was released in 2015 under the Creator Expert line and is 16 studs wide. Then came the 6-stud wide Speed Champions set in 2019. Finally, in 2024, LEGO released an 8-stud wide version. I actually like that LEGO's going back and redoing some of their old models. It makes me feel a little bit better about doing the same thing for my own. Now the sides here are kind of similar to the old 6-stud version, but I made some pretty big changes, including adding some mirrors to it. From here you can get a really good view of the 6 to 7 wide transition on the body, which definitely puts a little bit of stress on the bricks, but they should be fine once everything's in place. Of course, these 1x1 red plates with the Ferrari logo are a really good way to add some extra detail here. Ferrari's famously associated with Rosa Corsa Red, which translates from Italian to English to racing red. We're almost done. Here we're going to build the greenhouse. With nearly 90 years of history, Ferrari has become one of the most renowned car manufacturers in the world. They continue to innovate and they show no sign of slowing down, including releasing a new F40, which I've also made and will likely show off on the channel as well. Subscribe, the journey's just begun. And here's a look at the final model. Of course, it would be fair to do a comparison without checking out the latest set, so I'm going to build it really fast. In fact, I'm going to set a world record. If you think you can build the set faster than me, let me know, but I highly doubt it. And just keep in mind, this is not sped up, this is not manipulated, this is real. I am the real Speed Champion. And there it is, a world record, 13 seconds. Here's all 3 sets next to one another. The old set is, of course, a classic, and the new set is super detailed. And maybe I'm just a little bit biased, but I prefer my version. The 8-stud set is awesome, but it's just a little too big to me. I think on a shelf they're great, but in a city setting, the smaller versions are the way to go. Let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are. Do you prefer 6-stud, 8-stud, 4-stud, 7, 5? What do you think? And thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe for more mock tutorials and unsolicited opinions. Thanks, y'all.